Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it is another day here in Alabama. Before it gets too toasty on this side, I actually need to process these ballasts, right? I'll be popping 6 on here in a second. But yeah, I just woke up and I got some good news. Apparently my package is in at the post office, so I'm gonna want to go get that here real shortly. Got about a half hour till they open up, so I figured I'd spend 15 minutes ripping on these ballasts and just getting them all prepared to harvest. I got a bucket of them right there. I decided I'm just gonna lay them all out and zip them all and get them all open. Yeah, I figured I'd do all the strenuous stuff right here, right now, before it gets hot out. I mean, it's gonna be probably 90 degrees, they said, today. So we're gonna start out by laying all these suckers out. This grinder's junk, garbage. Trigger's busted. But we're gonna lay all these out so they're accessible to hit with my grinder. Okay. Basically, I'll start with these bigger ones. All right, take me a couple drinks of this here. Yeah. Grab my mask. I haven't used this mask in a while. It's got like a thick layer of pollen on it. So the reason why I line these all up so I can get them done fast, like speed, you know. So I'm going to zip down these tab lines on all these rows, and that'll be that. And then I just got to grab my. Oh, I got a chipping hammer for mason work. That's the type of hammer that I love using to work on these with. That's my favorite hammer for these ballasts. You'll see in a second. Yeah, I want to get these all split open, get the tin off of them, and kind of get the ballast ready to process, and I'll already be halfway done with them. So, alrighty, here we go. This is Merchant Metals and Mason Boy. He's right over there. You might not see him on frame, but he is over there eating grasshoppers. Alright.
Jag är den Peter och kommer då veta upp den personen som tar över. Jag är möjligt för mig. Men Imagine
one grinder wheel later, they're all going to be open now. Basically, I just got to take here, this here hammer. Yep. Okay. So, maybe I will work on this side over here. There. So Hero 6 can see us. Spud bar. Alright. So, essentially, since they got all the tabs open on them, you would just flip these around however you want to go about it there. This one's already been opened. So then they're going to look like that as I go. Okay. This chipping hammer will be good for opening the pieces and knocking this black resin crap up off of there, and that will reveal our ballast. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, so a good whack would liberate it from its case. So that's going to be our tin shred, right? And then we could even hold this over the top and then give them a smack or two to get the ballast free. Probably be just better just smacking it and picking it up later. Basically, our trick is just to expose these ballasts enough to where we can open the copper up out of them. And I'll show you guys the next process after that, you know. So that's how we open them. We go like that. Okay. Flip it, open it like a tuna can. Do that to all of them. See? I like to do them in a process. But anyways, so from this point, you got a bunch of open tuna cans, right? We want to just get them just down to this right here. So my next step would be, which is quite easy, I grab them and flip them upside down, and I hold the tab and I smack. They pop right out. See that? And then this is just gonna be tin shred. So let's do that process a few times, you know, a table's worth. And we'll start the cleanup process. All right, looks like we got them all. Boom. I think a couple of them fell actually. We'll pick those up right now. A lot of you guys are probably wondering how much am I going to gain from doing this. The truthful answer is I don't know yet, because they're so different every time I go through these. They're always different, you know. So now that we basically have all of them opened up and all the cases are free, we can really just start to work on them and get them cleaned up to where they're just down to the bare ballast itself, and then it goes to the next step basically. So We'll line all the good ones like this, ready for processing. Find out if they're copper or aluminum. Kind of get all the schmutz all down on one side so we can bag it. That'll be all just tin shred basically. Right? Yeah, that's old. Okay, that's junk. As long as we get them about looking like that, we're good. We're heading to the post office. We're going to come back here, finish these bad boys off, load them up, and then we're going to deal with these panels, motors, There's some things underneath the table yet. Mason! Alright, y'all. Hope you're all enjoying the ballast and transformer video so far. We'll be right back. I gotta run uptown and we'll get back here and we'll harvest this copper. I'll show you how that all begins and ends. And then we'll weigh up the steel and the copper. Mainly I just want to get a weight on the copper, guys. Tin shred, there's probably $5 or $10. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are here at the post office, and I guess I got about an hour wait because my package did not get scanned and they don't know exactly where it is in the building. So we are going to probably go to the car wash. There's one 5 minutes from here. I want to get my truck all washed up and get it nice and squeaky clean. It hasn't had a good washing since Michigan, so we're gonna go over there and see if we can't get our truck underneath a car wash. I mean, it's got to be one with tall height because my crane is tall. So we'll see what happens. All right, everybody, I got kind of lucky. I found a roll-off dumpster and I talked to the lady and she said I could, you stay. She said I could check it out and grab what I can grab. So we're doing that. Ooh. I seen some wires and stuff up there, so kind of wires everywhere actually. I'll be happy to grab what I can grab. Look at that. DX cable. Copper. Nice. That's actually a few dollars. Yeah, score, dude. It's the first dumpster I found in Alabama that had scrap metal in it, so we'll grab it. That's just coax cable. Grab what I can grab. I wish I could find a bunch of spots like this, you know. Yeah, beautiful. That was like 10 pounds of wire. Piece of aluminum. Nice. Score, dude. That's like $10. Thank you. Go on, get back. Go on. Get back. Go. Beautiful. All right. Dumpster Dive, Alabama. Thank God. We got the package. This is one of the last things keeping me here. When I'm gonna get back to the trailer and figure out what our next steps are, and we're halfway through processing those ballasts, so I'm definitely gonna process the copper out of those and get that all sorted out, and And really, man, we just got to hook up and get going. So going to where, I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure it out. All right. Well, YouTube, we're back. I got my package, thank God. We're going to continue processing these ballasts here. We just basically worked on pulling all the cases out and this and that and the other thing, right? So now our goal is to distinguish if we have copper coils or aluminum coils. The only way to do it, I think, is to test each one, you know what I mean? So I go about just laying them out like so, kind of like, you know, how they were before. I guess when I was going through these, I could have went and just did that as I was, but I wasn't thinking properly, you know, about the scenario. So we're gonna set them all up like this, and then we're gonna race angle grinder down them to find out if they're aluminum or copper. Obviously, our aluminum coils are going to be the ones that are going to look gray or white. We're after copper. We want the red orange metal, you know. This will all technically just be number 2 copper or dirty aluminum, really. So the ones that are just aluminum, I usually don't even bother messing with them. I don't go any farther than that, and I'll just sell it. I'll sell this as a transformer, you know. Essentially, that's what it is. They call it a ballast if it's not clean. I mean, basically, that's, you know, from where I'm from. If it's unclean and it's still got the, you know, the tin wrapped around it and all the junk and stuff, they're gonna call it a ballast and they're gonna pay you less. So if I take apart the aluminum ones, basically I'll be doing it for free, and or maybe even losing money depending on how much you think you're worth, you know what I mean? So we don't really pay any bother to dealing with those in that manner. The majority of all this is cleaned up now. Basically, we just have steel and copper right here. Copper and steel. See, that's probably aluminum right there. Sometimes when they have a brightish orange, it's just like a copper coating on them. But sometimes it could fool you. You could start taking one apart and realize you just took it all apart to look at aluminum, you know. This is probably aluminum. See how it's oxidized white? That's an indication right there that it's aluminum, probably, you know. You can see this little ballast though, right? It's got green oxidization on there. It oxidized green. So that's a clear indication that you got copper, you know. So we are going to just gracefully race this grinder across all these coils. Find out which ones are worth taking apart or not, you know what I mean? All right. All right, that's that. We're gonna pull out all the ones that are just straight up aluminum, okay? See, this big old ballast, aluminum, tiny copper. That's hardly worth taking apart right there. I'll just buzz the one side and pull that copper right up out of there. How about that? Yep, we can do it that way. So we have kind of the same right there. Double aluminum, one tiny copper. This one is triple copper. That's a good one. That's gold right there. Put all the good ones like that in a line so I know for sure. See, there's another triple copper. All right, double aluminum, tiny copper. I'm gonna face all those ones with the little copper coil facing me, and I'll be able to process it that way. There's a triple copper. All right, this is triple aluminum, double copper. That's only got 2 coils. Triple copper. Double aluminum, 1 copper coil. Tiny. Same thing. Double copper. Okay, we got double copper. There's a double. That's a double. All right. This one's interesting. This one's got 2 copper coils. The center one's aluminum. That's interesting. We'll set that with like the double copper. Yep. Okay. That's a triple copper coil. Okay, double aluminum, tiny copper coil. Some of them are just like that, man. Then this one here's a double copper coil, but one coil is massive, and then there's a small copper coil. Like different varieties and sizes and shapes, and you know, double copper. I'm just gonna say double C or double A, and we'll keep going. Double C. That's a double A. C for copper, A for aluminum. Triple C. Double C. Toward me, so then I can probably get a better shot of just prying those out and then leaving the aluminum coils and still get your transformer price. It's either that or just sell those as transformers, right? But okay, so we're gonna start cutting away after I have a drink of this Dr. Pepper. I'm always afraid of a bee flying in one of those. Wow. Holy smokes. Just got to smack them apart and claim our copper, and that's that. And then they're basically done, separated steel, copper. So when I go and start about going something like that, you got two clips on these. You got one on the bottom, one on the top, right there and there. If you can just take an edge of a claw hammer, or my favorite tool here is a concrete chipping hammer, one of my favorites. Just go and get them clips off there like that. You guys can basically see how easy they pop off. You just tap one of them off like it was nothing. So yeah, like that, and then you just smack on each side, boom and boom, boom, boom. Okay, and repeat that process. Now you got a steel core with 3 copper coils right there, completely cut off, ready to just pop out. When I start with that, I mean, I don't know where the heck there it is. I got this metal chisel, works as a great prying tool just to get that stuff out of there. And you'll be surprised how quickly it goes downhill from here, you know. I'm gonna get a collection bag for more steel. I don't want to overfill those bags. Definitely don't want to overfill the bags. I don't like lifting heavy stuff no more, you know. So we will be pitching our steel in there, and then for our copper, we'll just well, we're gonna commandeer this bucket for that. How about that? Yeah, that's fine. There. We don't need this on there no more. How did I even get it on there is my weird question here. Come on. Okay. Slid it from the bottom. Alright. Alright. Let's well. I like this more. There. We're gonna throw all our steel in that, and then we're gonna leave all the copper on the table so we can weigh it. How about that? I like that idea. So now we're gonna just lay right into getting all these completely 100% open. The ones that I want to process, basically. Truthfully, sometimes these you don't even have to pop the tabs off, but it does make a difference if you do it that way. See that? So just keep repeating that process. Pop your tab. Definitely helps out. Okay. See, I'm using that claw hammer, or not the claw, but I'm using the claw of this pick. I need to drive another nail in that, but we may have to pause here in a second. I agreed to help the new people that's up here working. They don't work for that Brady character, but it's the people that actually own the place. They need a hand loading a couple of heavy items, and I said, hey, I appreciate you guys letting me stay here a little bit longer so I can get my package and stuff. And I agreed to go over there and help them lift a few things. There's like a big old John Deere brush hog attachment up there, and they can't lift it, you know. I wouldn't want them to lift it. So I mean, my truck crane is more than capable of doing that. So I will be going up there to help them with that. They even offered to pay me, but I just told them, man, free of charge. Like, yeah, it's like I lost so much here that it doesn't even matter anymore. You know what I mean? I'm just happy to have me, my dog, a place to live in, and my scrap metal at hand, literally. The future is kind of unwritten right now at the moment. I don't know if I'm going to Florida or not. I was having some serious thoughts about going home. I just don't want anything else. I don't want anything else to beat me down or slow me down, because I don't want to get it to the point to where I'm not going to make it back home. That's the only thing I'm worried about. I want to make it home. But yeah, you see how easy they fall apart? Once you get rid of those clips on each side, it's easy. Oh, okay, that one's double copper with a center aluminum. We'll just make sure to pick it out. Take that long. Once we get them all open, we're going to start peeling all the copper and then get a nice little weight of that and see how much we got for weight. I meticulously took all the weights of all the wire that we have up there too, and all the copper and whatnot, minus some of the stuff that we got from Michigan, Kentucky, and what's that other state? Ohio. Yep. I got a video that I could upload right away today But it's another video of taking that pole barn down. I don't really want to upload that. I'm just trying to forget about that. What's done is done, and I'm moving on. Depending on how much we get on Monday from my scrap metal, will be able to tell me if I'm able to go to Florida or if I'm going to have to go back to Michigan. I'm hoping, you know, if we get more than $1,000, maybe if we get more than $1,500 for all the stuff, I could see it possible getting to Florida, as long as nothing goes wrong with the truck or the trailer. You know, that's my game plan. If I get over $1,500 for all this, then I can continue south. I was looking at how far West Palm Beach is. Dude, it's like 800 miles from here still. Like it makes it feel like I only went halfway so far, and it's actually pretty much true. Yeah. So $1,500 is even pretty light, but I think if I had that, I can continue. Now that I got my truck running right, I'll tell you guys actually what it ended up being. Turns out this whole trip so far, I've only been running my truck off of 7 cylinders. I had a bad plug wire. It was a dirty, rotten, pot-licking plug wire on the right side of my engine. That was the cause for one of the cylinders to have 0 spark. That's why my truck has been struggling this whole time. That's why I couldn't accelerate up hills with my trailer, is because my V8 was running off of 7. It was like a V7, you know? Bullshit. So yeah, I mean, that was the majority of the problem. And holy smokes, guys, I got my truck firing on all its cylinders now, and oh boy, does she run a lot better. It feels like I could actually pull my trailer to Florida now and be okay. At first I was like thinking, oh man, I'm not gonna make it, my truck's gonna die. But I found it. I found the issue. I mean, I know I should have checked all my wires, all my plugs, to make sure everything was firing and this and that, but I did not think it would be a stupid little plug wire to be the issue. I thought it was everything else, you know, cap, rotor, distributor, you know, this, that, the coil pack, you know, and then I'm like, oh, it's none of that, so I guess I'm really screwed. And then I started getting into the more simpler stuff that I'm like, I must have, it's like I overlooked it. There could be a problem with it. So I ended up spending like half a day tracing all my wires and checking this and that and the other thing, and turned out it was one dirty, rotten plug wire. Which is just crazy to me. Oh, it does have a clip. There. Try to pull some of the plastic crap off of there, but yeah. You don't have to get too crazy into it, but they can throw that stuff right in the number 2 bin for sure. You know, there's other ways. You could try clawing at it like this and that, but the resin that's still on there is gonna be what's holding them in still. You can even take this claw hammer and then just do that to loosen it up. Maybe smack each side like this, loosen it up, you know, they pop off. I'll call that number 2 copper. I like that actually, you know, that's nice. Instead of even using the chisel and hammering, I think that's what we'll do. Just use this stinking claw hammer and jack there and pull it apart. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Look at that. So in case you guys, you know, there's some of you guys are wondering how much I made off that pole barn, and it's not much at all. It's actually quite embarrassing to say. But I got $400 to take that whole building down. That's where I sit with that. And you know, it was $400 and all the scrap that's in my truck. That's what I got, basically. You know, and I did get paid some money for filling up those dumpsters full of steel that we had here. I got 50% of all of the stuff that I had loaded in there. So there's that. Not proud of it. Definitely not proud of it, man. But it's what happened. That's what happened. So I'm living with it. I'm not perfect, man. I make mistakes. I should have told him to kick rocks, dude, but I didn't. I mean, it's like I was already in a bad way when I got here, so I mean, how much more better off I am now? Not very better, not much better off at all, but it is what it is. Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 pounds right there so far. It's definitely dirty copper, but it's copper. So yeah, you guys kind of see why I cut these all the way down the middle in the beginning before I even take the steel off. Makes it easier for them to cut. And now with this cut down the middle, look, just pry it like that with a claw hammer. Not bad, right? It was basically the easiest way I found to do a lot of them at once. Buzz all the cases off, right? Clean the gunk off of them as you pull them out of the cases. Cut them down the middle, the coils, right? And then smack off the 2 metal sides, steel sides off these. So then what you had left there is steel that has copper coil around it. And you just take a hammer, pry them off. Really easy. Not bad at all. And if you got hundreds of these and you can prove to yourself that the majority of them are copper, worth opening for sure, I think. I'll let you guys decide when we weigh this, okay, to see if doing all this was worth it. This row up front, aluminum copper transformers, basically. We'll leave them as is and just sell them as is. And we can get our 30-cent whatever a pound for the unit itself. These ones, they almost just fall right off the bone because they got burnt. See that? They might not want to play as well as I thought. We'll see. Still might be better cutting them. I'm thinking so. But we're going to keep working on the ones that we know are good. I like recycling. I find it somewhat therapeutic, you know, in a way. But look at that. That's good copper right there. you know. Falling right off the bone. Oh! Ugh. Realistically, time invested. I kind of worked throughout the day on this. I only worked probably, I would say the most amount I worked was probably like 40 minutes. Plus another half hour, and then however long this is. So I'd probably say maybe around 2 hours, 2.5-ish hours to do these without really working all that hard at it. So here's that interesting one that has the double copper and then aluminum coil in the middle. I wonder why they did it like that. Basically just to cut corners, cut costs. I'm sure there's 100 other ways to process these, but this is how I like doing it. This is my method. Good little pile of nuggets right there. They're starting to. Sorry I haven't been watching, or I have been reading all the comments, everybody. I definitely read the stuff that you send to me. Don't think I'm ignoring. I've been really dead set focused on getting everything 100% so I can start traveling. And like, I'm days behind on editing. So I basically just decided to stop uploading the videos about taking the pole barn down. Maybe I'll revive that at a later date. But if I keep posting those videos, it's gonna hurt my channel. We need to keep up with the scrap metals, you know. So I gotta start focusing on that more. You know, we're still going to be having lots of adventures and this and that and the other thing. But I can't post 5 videos in a row about taking a pole barn down. YouTube doesn't understand what I'm doing. They're like probably sitting there going, hey, that's not scrap metal. Advertise him less. I think that's what happened there for a minute. So, on an interesting note, the last video that I just uploaded, it was called Canadian Stripmeister Modification. YouTube liked that. They promoted it a lot, you know. I could see it. I could see the amount of likes I got was like twice as many. It's because it was being seen more, because it's scrap content. And wire strippers are well known. So this hasn't been cut. All the ones we'll have an issue with that need cut, and I'll just put right there. But we're about ready to break the scale out and weigh this pile of copper we got right there. That pile you see is all copper, number 2. Definitely worth it if you're just getting these things, you know. That's got to get probably cut. Yeah. Some of them will fall right off, like this one just did. But then it's going to be a pain in the butt to get all of it. So cutting it is probably still yet our best bet for those. Unless they really fall off like that one just did. Ooh, look at that. Mason's been itching to go for one last walk back there in the woods, so I'm going to give that to him. Alright everybody, I am going to weigh up this copper that we pulled from those ballasts. We'll get a total of that and see how much number 2 came from all those. And then we're just going to throw those in and sell them as transformers. They got too much aluminum in them. Yeah. So, we're going to get our scale going. Alright. Let's get some copper in there. That was 2.5 pounds. Oh yeah. There go 10 pounds right there. Oh no, looks like we had one left. There was one under there, under that pile. 27 pounds. 30 pounds. 41 pounds. 46. 'Put a little bit of that in there. That's aluminum. So we had, red wasp, go away. We had one left over. Fucking red wasp. I hate red wasp. They always like biting me. They like these things. There. So we're at 46.5 pounds. Hopefully this will make it 47. 47.5. All right. Yeah, it didn't do anything to the scale, but all right guys, 47.5 pounds of copper came off of those. Not bad, considering I only spent, well, a few hours on it, and I wasn't really even working all that fast, really. I was just taking my time. But yeah, look, 47.5 pounds. Oh yeah, that's good. 0? Nope, 1.5. That's because of the box. All right, this is Merchant Metals and Mason Boy. I promised him I'd take him for a walkie poo for the last time out in that woods there. Probably gonna be leaving tomorrow. I ain't got no work left here, so anyways, again, this is Merchant Mason Boy. Like, subscribe. Hope y'all been enjoying all this content I've been making. I've been working really hard on it. We're about ready to get back on the road and see how all that turns out, so keep me in mind. All right y'all, have a good day. Me and Mason are on our very last walk through here, and I just wanted to show you guys how doggone beautiful it is back here, man. That's one thing I will miss once I leave here, is the walks back here were always so nice. These red flowers are so interesting to me. I couldn't tell you what they are. Does anybody know what these are? These red flowers. I mean, they're really nice. We don't have them up in Michigan, for sure. And then here's some purpley looking flowers. We have stuff similar to this, but it's not exactly the same. Look, these are actually trees that have these red flowers on them. Interesting, you know? And yeah, just wanted to share this with you guys. Possibly try to go for one more mushroom hunt. Unfortunately, I didn't find any here. That's just how it goes sometimes. I'm sure there'll be other places traveling north where I'll be able to find them. But we're gonna keep walking around and see if we can't see some mushrooms. This is Merchant and Mason Boy. All right.